I've been holding this in, but what went down last Friday has been brewing for years, and I'm done holding back. My mom retired after 33 years as a high school English teacher. Big celebration at my parents' place, about 40 guests. Extended family, dad's coworkers, mom's fellow teachers. I'm 36, still get invited to these family gatherings, but I'm treated like the perennial loser who can't get his act together. My older brother, Marcus, 41, is in pharmaceutical sales, pulling in good money, married with 2 kids, the family's pride and joy. My sister, Vicky, 33, works in hospital administration, engaged to some finance guy named David, also a star in their eyes. Then there's me, the one they think can't keep a job, supposedly begging dad for gas money, allegedly fired from Best Buy 6 years ago for stealing break room snacks. That's not what happened, but I'll get to that. I arrived at Mom's party around 6 p.m. Friday, carrying a modest bouquet of mixed flowers from the supermarket, maybe $15, just trying to show some respect. Walked through the living room, greeted a few relatives, and headed to the kitchen where Mom was setting out appetizers with Vicky and her friend Marley. I handed Mom the flowers, congratulated her on her retirement. She took them, stared at them for a beat, then turned to the packed kitchen, holding the bouquet aloft. In a voice loud enough for everyone, she declared, "Look at this, everyone. He thinks a $5 grocery store bouquet makes up for 36 years of being a total letdown." The kitchen fell silent for a moment. Then Marcus, leaning on the counter with a beer, burst out laughing, cracking a joke about whether I'd paid for the flowers with food stamps. A few of Dad's buddies snickered. Vicky chimed in, saying it was pathetic I still thought I was welcome there. I stood there, empty-handed, as Mom tossed the flowers onto the counter like they were trash. Dad strolled into the kitchen just then, glass of bourbon raised, and gave a toast to his wife, praising her for raising one successful son and one who still needed gas money handouts at my age. More laughs. One of Dad's pals, a guy named Jackson I'd barely met, asked if I was the one canned from Best Buy for stealing. Mom nodded, smirking, saying, "Yep, swiping food from the break room," like it was the funniest anecdote she'd ever shared. The room erupted in laughter. People doubled over, someone joking I probably stole the flowers too. I forced a smile, set my empty hands on the counter next to the discarded bouquet, walked through the living room past smirking relatives, and drove back to my apartment. What they don't know is what I've been working toward for 6 years. What I've been waiting for them to push me far enough to unleash. 6 years ago, I was 29, working at Best Buy in the phone department, earning decent money but nothing flashy. I was dating a woman named Carrie, together for 8 months, talking about sharing an apartment. One Sunday, I was at my parents' house, helping Dad install a ceiling fan in the spare room. Mom, Marcus, and Vicky were downstairs in the kitchen. I went down for a drink of water and overheard something I wasn't meant to. Mom was telling Marcus and Vicky how I'd been caught taking food from the Best Buy break room, how management had reprimanded me, how humiliated she was that her son was stealing like some desperate drifter. Marcus called me a loser, always had been. Vicky agreed, saying Carrie would soon see through me. None of it was true. I'd never stolen from Best Buy. No manager ever spoke to me about it. The whole story was fabricated. But Mom was spinning it like it was gospel, and Marcus and Vicky were lapping it up, using it to cement their view of me as the family failure. I stood in the doorway for maybe half a minute listening. Then I went back upstairs, finished the fan installation with Dad, and left. That night, I ended things with Carrie, realizing my family was sabotaging every relationship I tried to build. 2 weeks later, I left Best Buy, not fired, but because I landed a job at a tech startup in customer service and account management. That company was bought out 4 years ago. My stock options from a promotion to senior account manager cashed out at $240,000 after taxes. I've been living off my salary, investing that money carefully. It's now over $318,000. I also own a duplex bought 2 years ago in a solid neighborhood as an investment. I live in one unit, rent out the other, and the rent covers most of my mortgage. The property's worth about $410,000 based on recent sales nearby. My family thinks I'm scraping by, begging Dad for gas money, working a dead-end job. They think this because I've let them. I dress down at family events, drive my old car, stay vague about work, occasionally hint at money troubles. I've played their version of me, waiting for the moment they'd cross the line far enough for me to act. Friday night was that moment. Here's what else they don't know. 3 years ago, Dad needed a cosigner to refinance their house due to some credit hiccups. Marcus refused, citing his own mortgage and kids' college funds. Vicky, newly engaged, also said no. Dad turned to me, the supposed failure with nothing going for him. But my credit was stellar because I'd been meticulous about building it. I co-signed, went to the bank with him, signed the papers, and helped them secure a lower interest rate that saved them $400 a month. They barely acknowledged it. Dad mentioned it once, said he was grateful, then never brought it up again. Mom acted like it was the least I could do for being such a letdown. Marcus and Vicky didn't even mention it. But I'm on that mortgage, legally bound, with rights to the property. For 3 years, I've kept detailed records of every payment, every interaction, every time they treated me like dirt while I helped keep their house afloat. Friday night, after driving home from the party, I sat down and listed every major slight over the past 6 years. Every time they spread the Best Buy lie. Every time they introduced me as the family failure. Every family event where I was the punchline. It's a long list. Then I started making calls, leaving voicemails with 3 real estate attorneys I'd researched months earlier, emailing 2 property management firms I'd already contacted, pulling up all my mortgage documents, my financial records, everything. I'm done letting them walk over me. I'm not looking to forgive or fix things. I've spent 6 years preparing for this, building resources, securing leverage, waiting for them to give me the perfect excuse. Saturday morning, one attorney, Monica, called back. She specializes in property law and cosigner rights. We spoke for 45 minutes. She confirmed that, as a cosigner with strong financial standing and a clean payment history, I have options, legal options that will turn their world upside down fast. Monday morning, I'm meeting her in person to start the process. I'm also meeting a financial advisor to plan my next steps. Marcus texted me Saturday afternoon, asking if I was still upset about Mom's jokes at the party. Said I needed to chill, it was all in fun, I was too sensitive. I didn't reply. Vicky called Sunday evening, left a voicemail saying I was overreacting by leaving early, that Mom was stressed about retiring and didn't mean it, that I should call back to talk like adults. I didn't. Mom and Dad haven't reached out. Why would they? To them, they were just stating facts about their deadbeat son who brought cheap flowers, probably stolen. They have no clue what's coming. They think I'll crawl back, apologize for being dramatic, accept my role as the family failure, and things will go back to normal. But I've been building to this for 6 years, waiting for them to hand me the ammunition I needed. Friday night in front of 40 people, they did just that. I'm not the broke loser they think. I'm not struggling. I'm not the failure they've spent 3 decades telling everyone I am. They're about to find out who I really am and what happens when I stop playing their game. Update 1, it's Monday afternoon, and I'm in my apartment trying to wrap my head around the chaos of the past 72 hours. This has spiraled faster than I expected, and I need to document it before the next storm hits. I met Monica, the attorney, at 9 a.m. in her downtown office. Professional, no frills. I brought everything. The mortgage refinance papers from 3 years ago, my co-signer agreement, proof I've never missed a payment notification, my financial statements, duplex ownership records, the works. Monica reviewed it all for 20 minutes while I sat there. Then she laid out 3 options for me as a co-signer with solid finances and payment history. Option 1. I could demand release from the co-signer role, forcing my parents to refinance without me, which, with Dad's credit, would likely mean a higher rate or no approval. Option 2. I could push to protect my financial stake by forcing a property sale if I believed the primary borrowers were risking my credit or mismanaging the asset. Option 3, the one that hit hard. I could take over the mortgage entirely if I could prove I was the more financially stable party and their actions justified it. Option 3 would mean seizing their house, forcing them to buy me out at market value or move out. I asked how long that would take. Monica said it depends on how hard they fight, 3 months to a year. But filing a loan would pressure them immediately, as it becomes public record and limits their property options. I told her to start with option 1, demanding release, but keep options 2 and 3 ready if they resist. She agreed it was a smart move, giving them a chance to comply before going all out. We spent 30 minutes drafting a formal letter to my parents, demanding release within 30 days with proof of refinancing or alternative plans. Monica sent it certified mail that afternoon for delivery by Wednesday. I met my financial advisor, Elijah, at 2 p.m. I showed him my investments, duplex, salary, and 5-year goals. He He said if I pursued option 3, I could keep their house as a rental or force a sale, claiming significant equity. Their house is worth about $530,000, with $290,000 owed on the mortgage, $240,000 in equity I could partially claim as co-signer. He warned my family would fight dirty, that money and property bring out the worst. I said I was ready for it. By Monday evening, I had 6 missed calls and 12 texts, 3 calls from Vicky, 2 from Marcus, 1 from Dad. Vicky's text started calm, asking why I was ghosting if something was wrong, then got hostile, accusing me of making everything about me. Marcus told me to stop being dramatic, that Mom and Dad didn't need my nonsense. Dad's text was curt, "We need to talk, call me." I didn't respond. Monday night I ate leftover pizza, watched TV, braced for what was coming. Tuesday at 7 a.m. Mom called. I answered, sensing this needed to happen before the letter arrived. Her voice was sharp, controlled. She said Vicky called her upset about my behavior, that everyone thought I was having a breakdown, that my silence was immature. I let her talk, then asked why she told people I stole from Best Buy when it never happened. Silence. Then she claimed I'd told her about it years ago. I called her out, saying I'd overheard her make it up 6 years ago in the kitchen, that I'd quit Best Buy for a better job, not been fired. Her tone shifted, defensive. She said I must have misunderstood, it was old news, everyone makes mistakes. Then she flipped, saying the real issue was me storming out of her party, embarrassing her. I asked why she told a room of 40 people I was a failure, why she let Marcus make the food stamps jab, why she agreed when Dad's friend asked about Best Buy. She said it was just teasing, that I'm too sensitive, that Marcus and Vicky handle family jokes fine. I told her there's a difference between joking and public shaming, that Friday wasn't humor, it was cruelty. She went quiet, then said if I'd achieved something like Marcus or Vicky, there'd be nothing to tease about. She bragged about Marcus's family, Vicky's career, but what could she say about me? A vague job and a crummy apartment. There it was, the truth. My success didn't count because it wasn't flashy enough for her to show off. I told her I'd co-signed their mortgage when Marcus and Vicky refused, saving them $400 a month. Did that count? Silence. She said that was just family helping family, not an achievement. I nearly told her about the attorney, the letter, my plans, but I held back, wanting the letter to hit them blind. I said I had to go. She pushed for a family dinner Wednesday. I said I'd think about it and hung up. Tuesday afternoon, Marcus called. I answered. He went off saying Mom was crying, that I was digging up old Best Buy nonsense, that I needed to drop it. I asked if he knew the Best Buy story was fake. He said it didn't matter. It was ancient history, and the jokes were about my overall failure. I told him I earned $73,000 a year, own a $400,000 duplex, and have over $300,000 saved. Silence. He called me a liar, said if I had money, I wouldn't dress like a bum or drive a junk car. I said I let them believe what they wanted, but I was done pretending. He said I was delusional, that Mom and Dad always tried to help me, and this was how I repaid them. I asked when they'd helped. He mentioned the $20 gas money 2 years ago. I said I'd played that up to keep their narrative alive. He called me sick, said I needed help, and hung up. Wednesday at 10 a.m., Monica texted that the letter was delivered, signed by Mom. I waited. At 1:15 p.m., my phone exploded. Calls from Dad, Mom, Marcus, Vicky. I let them go to voicemail. Dad's was angry, confused, asking what kind of legal stunt I was pulling. Mom's was sobbing, saying the letter couldn't be real. Marcus's was pure fury, saying co-signers can't take property, that my attorney was a fraud. Vicky's was calm but panicked, begging to talk, saying family doesn't sue family. I sent one group text. I demanded release from the co-signer role. They had 30 days to refinance, and all communication should go through Monica. My phone rang instantly, all 4 calling. I turned it off, sat in my apartment, stared at my bank accounts. $318,000 I'd built while they mocked me, and wondered if they were starting to realize I wasn't their punching bag. Thursday, I turned my phone on. 23 missed calls, 37 texts, 2 voicemails from unknown numbers. One was Aunt Carrie, Mom's sister, asking me to call about the situation. The other was Marley, Vicky's friend, wanting to meet because Vicky was a wreck. The family was circling, and Aunt Carrie's voicemail, asking me to reconsider ruining my parents' finances, showed they were hearing Mom and Dad's version. This was about to get uglier. Update 9 days since the letter, and things have gone completely off the rails in ways I didn't fully predict. The dysfunction in my family runs deeper than I realized. Thursday afternoon, I called Aunt Carrie back. She's always been fair to me, so I figured she deserved my side before the family turned her against me. She answered, voice tense. Mom had called her Wednesday night, hysterical, saying I was trying to steal their house. I explained everything. The party humiliation, the 6-year Best Buy lie, the unappreciated co-signing, my hidden success, the legal moves. Aunt Carrie went silent, then dropped a bomb. Mom had been telling the Best Buy story to everyone, church friends, colleagues, neighbors, for years, not just at family events. She'd called me her disappointment son. So often it was just accepted. Then she said Mom told her 3 years ago I co-signed the mortgage to repay money I'd borrowed from them, that I'd been financially dependent for years. A complete lie. I'd never borrowed from them. The $20 gas money was a one-time thing Dad offered. But Mom had spun a story that I was a debtor paying them back by co-signing. I told Aunt Carrie it was false. She believed me, said Mom's story always felt off, but she couldn't get involved. She hoped we'd resolve it without destroying the family. I thanked her and hung up, stunned by how many lies Mom had spread. Friday morning, Monica called. My parents contacted her office Thursday wanting a meeting. She told them she only represented me and they'd need their own attorney. They refused, claiming it was a family misunderstanding. Monica suggested a mediated meeting with me present. I said no way, keep it formal. She agreed. Then she revealed something big. Her assistant's financial check on their property showed they'd taken a $47,000 home equity line of credit, HELOC 2 years ago, separate from the mortgage I co-signed. I hadn't been told, which was a problem, as co-signers should be notified of new liens. Monica said this made option 1, release, nearly impossible within 30 days. Banks wouldn't refinance with their debt and Dad's credit. Option 2, forced sale, was more justified. And option 3, taking the mortgage, was trickier but potentially more rewarding due to the added debt. I told her to send a follow-up letter noting the HELOC as a material change and threatening option 2 if they didn't comply. She'd send it Monday. Friday evening, Vicky showed up at my duplex looking drained and furious. I saw her on the doorbell camera, opened the door but didn't let her in. She demanded we settle this, saying I was ruining Mom and Dad over party drama. I said it was about 36 years of being their scapegoat while I kept their mortgage afloat. She said I was blowing it out of proportion, that families rib each other, that I was too soft. I told her about the Best Buy lie, how I'd overheard Mom invent it. She said Mom wouldn't make that up, maybe I'd confused her. I asked why she said at the party I wasn't wanted. She called it a joke but couldn't explain how. Then she said Marcus's lawyer friend claimed co-signers can't force people out, that my case was weak. I said my attorney disagreed, and I was just seeking release from an obligation they'd begged me to take. Vicky said if I went through with this, she and Marcus would cut me off. I said I'd been cut off for 36 years. They just didn't know I'd stopped caring. She called me unhinged for documenting their mistreatment, then left. Saturday, Marcus came to my duplex, furious. I didn't open the door, spoke through the ring. He demanded a face-to-face talk. I said anything he had to say was being recorded. He called me a coward, threatened to make my life hell if I didn't drop the legal action. I said threats on camera weren't smart. He kicked my door, lightly, but enough to show his anger, and left. I sent the footage to Monica, who said to call the police if he returned, as it could prove harassment. Sunday, Mom called from Dad's phone. I answered. Dad sounded exhausted, said they'd tried refinancing, but banks flagged their debt and his credit. The HELOC was for furnace and roof repairs 2 years ago, but Mom's pension cuts made payments tough. I asked why they didn't tell me. He said it wasn't my business. I was just a co-signer, not an owner. I said legally that wasn't true. He asked what I wanted. I said release from the mortgage or full control with a buyout at market value. He said they couldn't afford either. I asked why Mom lied about Best Buy. He said she was stressed about my choices and maybe exaggerated, but it was old news. I said it wasn't when she repeated it at her party. He claimed she loved me despite my lack of ambition, failed relationships, inability to succeed. I told him I'd built wealth they ignored because it wasn't flashy. They had 3 weeks to refinance. He said that wasn't enough time. I said tough. He hung up. Monday, Monica sent the HELOC letter. That afternoon, Uncle Robert, Dad's brother, called. He'd heard I was trying to take their house over my life choices. I explained the lies, the party, the co-signing, the HELOC. He listened, said Mom had always been harsh, but family should stick together. I said I'd given them a way out, refinance in 30 days. They couldn't. He offered to help them financially. I said that was their call, but my stance was firm. He said I'd regret this. I said I'd regretted co-signing for 3 years. Tuesday, Monica said my parents hired an attorney who claimed co-signers have limited rights. But my strong finances, their undisclosed HELOC, and my records of their mistreatment gave me a solid case. She asked if I wanted to move to option 2, forcing a sale. I said yes. She'd file by week's end, freezing their ability to sell or refinance, tanking their credit, and making the dispute public. Wednesday, I woke to 43 texts from family, triggered by a mass message from mom and dad claiming I was stealing their house, that I was unstable and dangerous. Most were hostile, some worried. One cousin, Elijah, said he'd listen to my side. I told him I'd explain if he meant it. We're meeting Thursday at a sports bar. I want one person to know the truth as the family paints me as the villain. Final update: 3 weeks since filing option 2, and last night everything hit its climax, exactly as I'd planned for 6 years. I need to record how thoroughly their world collapsed. 2 weeks ago, my parents got the option 2 notice. Their attorney called Monica within an hour, livid, threatening countermotions. She told him to try, citing our documentation of their HELOC, mismanagement, and my mistreatment. That day, Mom called 17 times, Dad 12, Marcus 8, Vicky 6. I didn't answer. That evening, all 4 showed up at my duplex, visible on my doorbell camera. I spoke through the ring. Mom sobbed, saying a forced sale would ruin them. Dad said it was their home of 28 years, their retirement plan. I said they should have thought of that before spreading the Best Buy lie, humiliating me at the party, and treating me like trash while I co-signed their mortgage. Marcus called me vindictive. I said he was right. This was revenge, and they'd earned it. Vicky said I was destroying the family over feelings. I said I was destroying their finances like they destroyed my dignity for 36 years. Dad said a quick sale would lose them $100,000 in equity. I said that was their problem. Mom collapsed, crying. Marcus tried the door handle. I warned him about the cameras and police. They left after 10 minutes. I saved the footage, sent it to Monica. Last Thursday, I met cousin Elijah at a sports bar. He'd heard conflicting stories and wanted mine. I laid it all out. The Best Buy lie, the co-signing, the party, my hidden wealth, the legal moves, the HELOC. He said it explained the weird family dynamic, that Mom's treatment of me never added up. He asked my endgame. I said I wanted them to see I wasn't their failure, that their actions had consequences. He asked if I'd really forced the sale or if this was about an apology. I said the sale was happening unless they paid me $200,000 for my share, which they couldn't. He said the family would shun me. I said they already had. He'd stay neutral but would confirm my story if needed. Monday, Monica said their attorney filed a motion claiming I had no ownership stake, only liability. Monica countered with the HELOC, my financial stability, and their public lies about me. She found they'd listed only Dad on the HELOC application, omitting the mortgage I co-signed, possible loan fraud. She wouldn't report it but used it to push for settlement. Refinance in 90 days, sell with me getting my equity share, or agree to a buyout. Their attorney requested a settlement conference by Tuesday. Wednesday, I prepped with Monica for Friday's conference. She said they couldn't refinance or buy me out. Their only option was selling, cooperatively or through court. Thursday, Mom called, voice broken, saying they'd lose their 28-year home. I said they shouldn't have lied about me. She claimed she thought the Best Buy story was true. I said she knew it wasn't. She said Dad didn't deserve this, that Marcus and Vicky were easy to praise, but I was difficult. I asked how. She couldn't answer. My success just wasn't braggable. I told her to prepare for Friday's conference. Friday at Monica's office, my parents and their attorney, David, faced us. David said families shouldn't resort to lawsuits. Monica shut him down, focusing on the property. They admitted they couldn't refinance or buy me out, asking for 12 months to sell. Monica countered with 90 days and a listing agreement within 30. Dad argued for time. Monica said every month risked my liability. Mom cried, saying 90 days wasn't enough. I said 6 years of lies was crueler. Marcus, uninvited, called me unreasonable. I mentioned his recorded threat. Monica made him leave. David said a sale would net them $350,000 after debts, not enough for a new house. Monica said that was their fault for the HELOC and mistreatment. After 2 hours, they agreed to list within 30 days, sell in 90, with me getting $47,000 for my share. They signed, Mom crying, Dad shaking. They left without looking at me. Last night at 3 a.m., all four returned to my duplex looking broken. Mom begged, sobbing, saying they were sorry. Dad said families forgive. Marcus demanded I face them. Vicky said this was killing Mom. I watched via camera, listened to their pleas, and did nothing. After 20 minutes, they left. I saved the footage. This morning, Monica said their attorney asked to reverse the settlement. Impossible. I'm in my duplex, looking at my $300,000 plus accounts, feeling only cold satisfaction. They lied about me for 6 years, humiliated me publicly, treated me like garbage while I stabilized their mortgage. Now they're losing their home, scrambling for rentals in their 60s, their retirement ruined, their reputation trashed. Marcus and Vicky will have to bail them out, and I'll walk away with $50,000, my duplex, my wealth, and the certainty they'll never underestimate me again. They begged last night, but the family failure doesn't save those who spent 36 years calling him worthless.